Hello and welcome back to another episode of The Real Franchise, a video series designed to deliver real information, real answers and real insights into franchising. The series is brought to you by James Home Services Australia. I'm the CEO and Justin is one of our owners and our head of new businesses. In this series, we tackle all of the big topics, unscripted, unplanned and unfiltered. We go where no others will, and there's no sales, no fluff. We just give you information straight up. Today's topic is about jumping off a cliff. It's a different one for us. Justin, when I say jumping off a cliff, what I mean is the transition from mostly a salaried position into starting your own business, that jump into business ownership. And in our last episode, we talked about the reasons people feel nervous, and we gave people a framework for how to ask themselves some deeper questions and question themselves on, should you do it? Should you take that leap? Today's episode, we're going to talk about the safety net that we've built for people to help them in making that decision and helping them in starting their business. But in the last episode, you introduced to us what I think is a brilliant analogy for doing things scared, jumping off the cliff. Do you want to share that with us so that we can frame that throughout the rest of today's conversation?
Yeah, so we were talking about fear, the fear of I'm terrified of jumping off a cliff. But one of the best ways to answer fear is knowledge. Fear, to me, I always think of an acronym, FEAR, false expectation appearing real. So the best way to answer fear is with knowledge. And I liken it to, once you understand how a parachute works and what a parachute is, whilst you might still be scared of taking the plunge, if you've got a quality parachute, you know, if you follow the system, wait 5 seconds, pull whatever it is, pull the right cord, follow that system, you're going to come down and be fine. And that's the beauty of having a parachute. But you've got to understand how the parachute works, and you've got to use the system to make it work. And that analogy flows exactly, I feel, into what we're talking about here.
Yeah, it really does, because what we're actually saying is a franchise network, a good one, is your parachute. Our system, our network is your parachute. So today, we're going to talk about how our parachute is designed to get you from the top of the cliff to the bottom safely. So let's start right at the beginning, Justin. The very first thing that we do to help people start successfully is we actually won't start you unless we genuinely believe that you're going to be successful. Can you dive into that in a little bit more detail? Because it kind of sounds a bit silly, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, one of the things I love about our business model, we only do well if our business owners do well. So it's no point, we don't make money up front selling someone a franchise if they take a subscription, right? And we've explained this in previous episodes, and that's very different to any other model out there. So the pressure on me as the director of sales is not to sell. It's to find the right sort of people that this will be good for. And we will, it works both ways. And we call that ethical sales. And one of our recent episodes was on what ethical sales for us looks like. So if you want to know all about that, go see that. But if we don't feel this is right for you, we'll say so. I think I had 8 people inquire last night about joining a network. One of them I'm taking further through the process because I feel, this could be really good for these. But the other 7, I don't think we're, at this point in time for them, not the right fit for them for a whole range of different reasons. Everybody's unique. But, for one of the people that inquired, definitely, I think there's potential. So we'll start going through the different things that make up our safety net with these people just to make sure it's right for them.
Yeah, but we're not trying to bring everybody through our process, right? Our doors aren't wide open and we're just kind of shepherding people in, right? That's not how we work because that ends in tears for both parties, right? It ends up with people starting businesses with us that this just wasn't suited to, because look, franchising is not for everybody. There's plenty of reasons why a franchise might not be the best option for you. There's plenty of reasons why starting a business might not be the best option for you.
That's the big thing, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so easy in Australia and it's been completely glorified. Starting a business, it's very, very easy. Get an ABN, register a business name, poof, you're away, right? That's why we see 80% failing in those first 3 years. That's why, because it's too easy. And most people don't really understand how hard it's going to be. And most people don't have the tools in their toolkit to actually get up and away successfully. And a franchise network can minimize that risk because our parachute is your toolkit, our system is your toolkit. We've done all those things. But ethical sales for us is very much about making sure that if we don't feel like we're the right fit for you or that business ownership is the right fit, we won't let you do it. We just won't. We're going to be really, really honest with you about that. And it's really important to us. And it's the first thing that we do to help us build that parachute for you, to help us build that safety net, is that if we don't think that you're going to be able to make this work successfully, we'll tell you so that you potentially don't make a huge mistake before you've even gotten started.
Yep.
The next thing I want to highlight is we're going to roll, the typical support, training, togetherness, all of that into one, right? Because I have an analogy for this that I really love that we've shared in a previous video. But if you think about an elite athlete or your favorite elite world-class sporting team, no one's doing it alone. An elite athlete has a whole team of experts behind them, dietitians, psychologists, behavioral scientists, people who help you with movement, people who help you with technique, people who help you with your finances, with your media, with your PR. You have an entire team. And then you think about your favorite sporting team, there are hundreds. There is a team of literal hundreds of people behind elite sporting teams to help them be at that level. So when you start a business, if you want to be successful, you need a team. Don't try and tackle this solo. You need a team. And if you can't or don't have access to assembling your own team, then a franchise network is an option, because guess what our job is? To assemble a team for you. That's what we do. Our head office team is your personally curated team of experts to help you with anything that you need help with, right? We have experts in media. We have experts in marketing. We have experts in how to help you employ people. We have experts in helping you to understand your finances in your business and with your bookkeeping in your business. Our business coaches are experts in our system because they've all been previous business owners and they've applied it and they've built successful, robust businesses that they've been able to sell. And that's now why they're business coaches in our network, because they've walked the walk. So we have curated for our business owners a team of experts to help them succeed in their business. And that is the second thing that we do that is our safety net. Now, most franchise networks will talk about support, training, having somebody there that's your regional manager that you can call for questions. We go above and beyond all of that. We've built a team of experts, and that team is your go-to. There's not a question we can't answer or help you with. That's how we support in this network.
Yep.
The next thing we do, Justin, is system. I'm going to throw back to you for this one. What is a system in a franchise? We're always throwing around that word. Why is a system part of a franchise network, and why is it so important?
Why it's so important is systems that make everything work. We've got a great couple at the moment joining us in Victoria, and he's had 2 previous businesses fail in a big way. So this whole fear that we're talking about is real for him. He's still paying off his last business. But he's a mechanic, like a highly skilled mechanic, works on massive machinery. So I was able to talk about the system. If he gets a machine that's not working, he just goes through the systems. He quickly identifies which system. Is it the fuel system, electrical system, water what's not working, he works out. And once knows that system is functioning properly, he knows he can turn the key and the thing's going to work and it's going to perform. That's what a system delivers. And I think, I shared this in one of the last podcasts. We see comments on our Facebook page, having a lawn business, it's cutting grass, how hard can it be? Having a cleaning business, right? That's the function. That's what you actually do. But it's the business and the systems that actually deliver the results for you, that actually make the profit, the money for you, deliver your goals, whatever they may be for you. So it's that system that's critical. And we have developed our system over 30 years, and it's something I'm incredibly proud of, particularly over the last 5 years. What we've refined, we've spent hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars on the computer system that our business owners get to use, that everything is collected as data. And then our coaches can work with the business owners on it. And it's just, it's why last year, every single business we started, none of them have failed, doing well. I was just sharing with you how the one that was struggling a bit is really starting to kick some goals now. I don't think any other network in Australia could put their hand on their heart and say that. And it's because we've got great systems, people who are passionate in their roles. We've got a great team of staff that have all used these systems. As you said, the business coaches have all been operators of it. It's not just about cutting grass or cleaning. That's the function. It's the systems that deliver the results.
Yeah. And to simplify that even further, a system is just the process you follow to achieve an outcome, right? So when we talk about systems, we mean we have a system for marketing your business, i.e. we have a process we follow. There are set actions that we take, that we teach you to take. And when those actions are completed, there is an expected outcome. We have a system for liaising with your clients to lock in a job. And when that system is just a process, it's a series of actions that we teach you to take when someone makes an inquiry. And when it's followed, when those actions are followed, you can expect a certain outcome. We have a system for how you prepare a quote. When you follow that series of actions, there's an expected outcome. And what we mean when we say we have a proven system, we mean that over the last 30 years, and as you mentioned, particularly over the last 5 since your ownership, we have refined those systems and we have demonstrated beyond doubt that the business owners in our network who have followed our systems, i.e. they have simply implemented the series of actions to take on any given component, they get a specific outcome. They get the job. They create leads. They get a higher hourly rate. They create a satisfied, loyal customer. There are outcomes that you can expect to get in our network as a business owner if you're following the system. And the system is just a series of actions that we guide you to do. That's all it is. Results. Let's talk about results. Results now are part of our parachute. Results are part of the safety net. Results are something that we're very focused on. And we've really seen some incredible results in the last 12 months particularly. You mentioned before, we haven't had a business owner that we've started in the last 12 months fail. I want to talk about some more specific results as well. We've had business owners, most that we've started have hit $1,000 a week by week 3 or week 4. Most, not all. I want to be very clear, not all, but most, as in like 80% that we've started have hit $1,000 a week by week 3 or week 4. We've had business owners doing $7,000 by week 3 and week 4. We've had business owners doing $3,500 by week 3 and week 4. We've had some business owners that haven't had that fast start, But by week 7 or 8, when we're really working with them and we're helping them to understand the different elements of that system, then we've started to see them lift consistently. And by week 12, they're meeting their break even and they're consistently sitting between that 2,000 and 2,500. Now, I'm not sharing names, but for every single example I'm giving, there is a name in my head. I know exactly who the business owner is that I'm talking about. So these are not just random numbers. And I'm not sharing names because I would like to protect people's financial information. But for every single example that I've just given, there's a name in my head. There is a business owner in our network who has genuinely achieved that outcome.
Can I just jump in there? It's pretty rude, but you just highlighted such a key part on these systems, right? Some start early, some it takes a while, right? Those ones that it didn't happen to week 7 or 8, what's happened there, as you I'm sure would agree, over a few weeks, our coaches have been able to identify, because everything is tracked, what's going on, and this part of the system you're not following or you're not using or you're not good at, let's help you. And the business coaches got involved at that point, remedied the situation. The people have started to apply the system as intended. And guess what? It's a proven system, and bang, they're off and away. You know, the gentleman we were talking about before clearly identified where the challenge is. It took a while for that individual, right, to come to grips with that, but has started to work on those things. Bang, instant takeoff. And it's just time and time again, it's that system that delivers the results. If you use the system, it's why you take a parachute.
Yep, exactly. It is, to go back to your analogy. Oh gosh, this episode is full of analogies. I hope that if you're listening along, this is making sense to you. But to go back to the analogy of the mechanic, your diesel mechanic who, his job was to diagnose the particular system within that machine that was failing. And once he diagnosed where the failure was, he pinpointed it, he fixed it, and then he knew the expected outcome was that you turn the key and the machine turns on, right? So in our network, what you're just talking about is our business owners are incredibly skilled individuals, and our system is also incredibly detailed, so much so that what we do is we take a really deep look at what our business owners' activities are. We simply find the activity or the system that isn't being implemented as well as it needs to be. Now, sometimes it can be a mental roadblock. Sometimes the franchisee is the one who says, I don't need to do that. I don't want to do that. It feels uncomfortable. Or sometimes it's a skills roadblock, where the franchisee is trying their absolute best and they just haven't got those skills. What our business coaches do is identify whether it's a mental roadblock, like a mindset roadblock, or a skill-based deficiency. And then the way that we help that business owner is very, very different depending on what we identify the problem actually is. But it's the same as the diesel mechanic. We pinpoint exactly what's not working. It is a precise science for us nowadays. It's really precise. We pinpoint exactly what's not working. We fix it. And then the expected outcome is that if the business owner then implements or continues to work on their skills in this area, the expected outcome is that we will see results, i.e. a lift in their income over the next few weeks. And we do see that when somebody implements our guidance, the expected outcome is achieved.
Absolutely.
All right, let's move on from results. Let's talk about brand. It's very common that a franchise network will say, you should join a franchise because we've got a brand. And it's thrown out there as a bit of a no-brainer, like everybody understands what that means. What is the value of a brand, Justin? Actually, what is the value of our brand as opposed to other independents out there, as opposed to, people who don't have the systems that we have? When you consider tenure of our brand in Australia, what really is the value of our brand and what does it mean for our business owners? What advantage is it to them?
For me, there's two things it means. What it gives someone when they take on a brand, it gives them professionalism and it gives credibility. in the eyes of the customer. To me, those are the two big wins. You might have just finished your training, yet you turn up to talk to someone and you're in your James uniform with the signed vehicle. Instantly, the perception from the customer is very different because, this is a professional, and there's a level of expectation that comes with that. If you just turn up, actually, we've got someone joining the team now that has an existing business, and I've just been working on signage, and the signage on their current thing is like about that big, right? And you wouldn't even see it. We make you come across professional, and what that does is, it does a whole range of things, but it means if you're following the system, your conversion rate, getting customers is so much quicker and easier. We can turn on an advertising campaign in an area, and it's going to generate X number of leads a week from day one. Doesn't matter where in this country we do it, so long as it's in a place with more than 2,500 homes, we know we're going to get an outcome because of the professionalism, and it gives credibility.
Yep. Do you know the other thing that it does, and we see it in our numbers, right? You and I very well know what our average hourly charge out rate is, what on average our teams make. You and I both know it is significantly higher in our network than it is on average in Australia for a business owner in a lawn and garden care business or an interior cleaning business.
Yeah.
Why can our business owners charge more? Because we're premium. Why are we seen as premium? Because our brand elevates our business owners to that level. We are the brand. We get callbacks from real estate agents, not callbacks on our own work. We get called when they've tried the alternatives, when they've tried the lower cost budget cleaners, when they've tried the other brand name cleaners even. We're the ones that get called to fix the others' jobs. We are the ones that people call when they've tried the low-cost alternatives. We have business owners that, when they're just starting out their business, they get really disgruntled when they lose a client, or not lose a client, but lose a quote. And when they lose a quote on price, and when the specific comment from the customer is, but I can get that cheaper if I go over there to so-and-so. Right? We get this often. We get it from time to time. We hear this feedback, and we're very quick to reassure the business owner that that's okay. Not everybody is your client, firstly, but secondly, you'll be surprised how many times you lose the quote initially, but over the next 12 months, you'll get a call from that customer because they've tried the cheaper alternative. And it turns out they were prepared to pay a little bit more for someone who was reliable, did a decent job, showed up on time, was a good communicator, and who could manage to get an invoice out on the same day. When people first are shopping around, they will do just that. They will shop around. They will be price sensitive. I find all the time.
Real life example last night, as part of this process that we were talking about that we take people through, you'll get to meet franchisees, right? And so last night I hosted one of these meetings, and that mechanic was on there that we've been talking about. And he asked David and Moana, who have just started with us, they were on the Zoom as well. They're in week 4, I think, or week 5.
Week 5, yep.
Week 5 of their business. Also in Melbourne, so mechanic asked David and Moana, how do you find competing with the competition, like price? And David and I looked at each other and he said, well, look, there are dozens and dozens of cleaners in our suburbs. I look on Facebook and I just see cleaners everywhere. He said, if you want a $15 an hour cleaner, heaps of them out there, you can go get them. And he said exactly what you just said, but that's not our customer. We deliver a premium product. And he looked at Moana, and these guys' business has taken off, as you know, they're doing great. He looked at Moana and said, of all the quotes we've done, have we lost any because of price? And she said, no. And it's just because they have a system they're following, their brand, they got their reputation, and they've just walked in and followed the system and they're getting the results.
And they are getting the results. At the end of week 3, they had 11 regular customers locked in. Now, they are now in week 5. I haven't checked back in and looked at their results since. But given that at the end of week 3, they were already at 11, surely they're around 15 now. That's incredible, because when you actually break it down and look at, and I mean, they're a hubby-wife team, so their capacity to do these jobs is higher than if you're out there solo. But as a benchmark for anyone listening, if you're out there solo as a cleaning business owner, if you've got 35 regular customers, you're kind of approaching capacity.
Yeah.
They were in week 3 and they were almost a third of the way there already. That's wild. That means by week 10, if they kept that up, by week 10, they would have had one of them at capacity. So it's another very real result. It's a very real demonstration of how our system is designed to get you results fast in your business. All right, let's move on from brand. Let's talk about our accelerated startup program. This is something we do that we've designed, we own. Nobody else in the industry is doing this. Justin, what is our accelerated startup program and why should people care about it if they're looking at starting with us?
Well, why they should care about it, the number one question people ask, come to me, or concern or fear that we spoke about is, Justin, I'm leaving this income, I need to replace it. I need to be earning money quickly. That's the number one concern people have. Accelerated Startup is all about that. And what we've done is accelerate people's startup. And a key part of that is we do so many things. We do, I think it's 120 things now that list is up to that our team do.
It keeps growing.
Right? We just keep adding to it. There's it's over 120 now items that we do before people kick off. Whereas most companies won't start doing stuff till you're signed up and in training, right? And we used to be like that, and we found that it then delayed the income weeks because for the first few weeks, people are doing all these setup stuff. We take the risk and we work with people first so that when they come back from training, they're quoting, their jobs are in, they're off and away.
Yep.
And it's just had, close to 100% success rate last year.
Yeah, well, David and Moana in that example that we were just talking about, 11 regulars by the end of week 3. The only reason, or not the only reason, I mean, the reason they were able to do that is because they're great people following a system and putting their absolute all behind it. Credit where credit's due. That's all them following the system. But part of the reason why they were able to start so quickly is that we had squared away all of the admin, all of the setup, all of the bank accounts, the business name registrations, the ABN, the insurance, the first aid certificate, all of the boring admin stuff. We had completely squared that away. And their week 1, they were their heads were clear of all of the admin setup. They were ready just to get straight into operating their business. And what that has meant is that by the end of week 3, they've had 3 full weeks of being able to market, quote, liaise with customers, get customers. They've got 11 regulars. Now, frankly, that setup stuff takes about 3 weeks. So if we did what everybody else does, that at the end of week 3, they would have had 0 regular customers, and we probably would have just been finishing that startup process with them then. So that is almost one of the best examples of why we do the accelerated startup program. It is purely to accelerate the rate at which you can hit the ground running in your business.
Yeah. And it's one of the reasons why we have our income guarantee, because we know by week 3, people should be up around that $1,500 a week. So we back it with an income guarantee. Put our money where our mouth is. We know our system delivers. The key is working the system.
Yeah. And so the final piece of that, not the final piece. There are so many pieces to this parachute that we've designed, but we've talked through a few of the key ones this morning. The final component of it is our income guarantee. There's a very good reason why we mentioned this last, right? We could mention this first and we could put everybody's mind at ease right in the first 30 seconds and say, don't stress. We have an income guarantee, which means that if you're not earning $1,500 a week by week 3, we will top your earnings up to that. So for 12 weeks from week 3 onwards, you can rest assured that so long as you are implementing our system, we will be topping up your income to $1,500. You have a secure income for those 12 weeks of $1,500 a week to allow you to focus on building your business without financial stress. We could have mentioned that in the first 30 seconds. There's a reason why we didn't, because it's the last. It is the very last thing that we call on in our safety net. I would much prefer that we focused on getting our system working so effectively that no one needs that income guarantee. That's our focus in our network. That is it's our whole driver, right? The ethics behind what we do is, if we set this whole model up to be so focused on getting outcomes for our business owners, then the income guarantee becomes almost completely null and void. That's our goal. And last financial year, we paid out on it less than 0.5% of the time because it wasn't needed, or because somebody wasn't implementing the system. But that's a them thing. So there's a reason why we mentioned it last. It's there. It's part of the safety net. It's part of the design of our parachute. But we much prefer to put the work into our system and into our support to make sure that you don't need it.
And to me, the income guarantee is the carrot to try and help people follow that system and all those things you were just talking about. It's because if they want to qualify, I always say to people, look, whether or not we had the income guarantee, follow the things that are in that guarantee. And it's the nuts and bolts of the system, just the key items. You do those things, you're going to be off and running, and we won't have to pay you. And we see that. That's why we do it. We don't have to pay out hardly ever. We have no issues with paying on it. But when people follow the system, they're often away earning more than that. Yeah.
Yep. And the person that we were talking about previously that has had a slower start than most of our business owners, and he is week 8 or week 9 at this point. I think probably week 8. And I'm really pleased to hear that we're starting to see some results with him now. That's great. I'm going to jump into his account afterwards and just have a little look, because I've been watching going, oh my goodness, I really hope, because I trained him and he was just such a lovely individual, and, young family, really wanted success, and our business coach is obviously sounding like starting to move the needle, which is great. But we did actually pay out on our income guarantee for him for a couple of weeks running there, because he was following the system and we were supporting him to do that. And interestingly enough, there was a week earlier on, he didn't qualify because he wasn't following the system. The results he was getting reflected that. In the last couple of weeks, we have actually been paying the income guarantee top-up payment to him because he's been following the system. And now you're reporting to me that his results are starting to increase. What a beautiful coincidence. In fact, I think that's no coincidence at all. That is exactly the reason why we do this income guarantee, right? Because I will say that, there was an element of complacency, I think, from him in those first couple of weeks, like, joined a franchise network, they're going to send me leads, this is all just going to happen, right? And then the reality hit that, you got to put the work in here. You got to be the one that chases this down, and there are certain skill sets that we really have helped him with as well. So there was an element of complacency. The income guarantee was us being able to say, here's the things you need to do. If you do them, you'll qualify, you'll get that payment top up. But also if you do them, I wouldn't mind betting you're going to see results in your business, which is exactly what's happened. Yep. What a wonderful thing. Yep. Very quickly before we wrap, because we're pretty much there, but the other really important element of the reason why we offer the income guarantee is because, I'm going to be completely honest here, in order to qualify, you got to submit us a timesheet that shows your activities every single week. Now, some people might be going, whoa, hold up, big brother. Hang on a minute. Didn't I sign up to my own business so I could have freedom, flexibility, control, choice? Yes, you did. And you can have all of those things so long as we get your business up and off the ground and operating fast enough that you can pay your bills and replace your salary. And the way that we help you to do that is by helping you to grow a business. And the reason we ask for a timesheet is not because we're Big Brother, but it's the diesel mechanic looking for the part of the system that is failing. If you're giving us a timesheet of your activities, our business coaches can use that to determine which of our systems you're not implementing. And when I said before, our diagnostic work now is a precise science, this is exactly what I mean. It is a precise science because we're collecting information from you that is allowing us to identify any gaps or any skills deficiencies. And then our business coaches can be straight onto very tailored support to help fill that gap. And that's what helps us to get outcomes for our new business owners.
Absolutely. Great spot to wrap up.
Yep. All right, let's leave it there. I hope that if you've been listening and joining us, this has been a longer one. I hope you've found it helpful. If you're thinking about making an inquiry, go ahead, take the leap, because now we've painted the picture of how we've designed our parachute for you to help you safely to the ground. And I hope with that, you'll join us for the next episode of The Real Franchise very soon.